Commissioner LaBeouf. Commissioner Dallas Smith. Commissioner Rhonda Connor.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Stand for the invocation. Mrs. Smith, please lead us.
Father God, we come tonight giving all glory, honor, praise to you. Father God, we ask you for direction. And we ask and we pray, oh Father God, that you give us direction concerning the business of City of Port Arthur, EDC Board, and the citizens of Port Arthur. Father, again, we thank you, we honor you, we glorify you, we magnify you, oh Lord. We ask this all in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under one God, indivisible.
We all have a copy of and have seen the minutes from our special meeting that we had on February 10th. May I have a motion to approve those?
So move.
Let me get a second. It's been moved by Mr. Sharifis and second by Mr. Smith. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Do we have any, since we have no presentations, are there any communications?
You have a membership luncheon by the Chamber of Commerce. This is going to be March the 18th at the Bao Civic Center. And normally, we actually, if you guys would like to attend, you guys call in Joni, and we do individual tickets on these.
Questions? So if anyone that wants to attend, let's just make sure we contact Joni and she'll get us set up. There being no unfinished business or consent agenda items, we'll look at item number 1 under non-consent. To discuss for possible consideration a letter of intent for infrastructure for a shopping center at 3300 Jimmy Johnson Boulevard. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, again, Commissioners, this is a letter of intent for infrastructure for a strip mall at a two-story shopping center at 3300 Jimmy Johnson. We ask you guys to, if you wish for us to move forward with this letter of intent.
Any questions? You have a motion.
Move that we move forward with this letter of intent.
You had a second?
I second.
It's been moved by Mr. Sharifis and second by Mrs. Connors that we approve the letter of intent for infrastructure. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, to discuss for possible consideration a letter of intent for infrastructure for the Lighthouse Deli and Lighthouse Market, Sabine Pass. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, again, Commissioners, Chairman, another letter of intent from for a Lighthouse Deli and a marketplace market. I think we do have we do have the folks in here if you guys want to hear from them. Okay?
Everybody, my name is Chrissy Hyde, and this is Jerry Hyde, my husband. Okay. We are in the process of opening up a deli, and attached to that will also be a market for regular dry groceries and for fuel. At the present time, there is no fuel in Sabine Pass. There's no real grocery store in Sabine Pass, and so it's very difficult. It's been that way for the last probably year and a half. Since the fuel, where you could get fuel at a little store, they no longer have fuel, and they don't plan to get fuel. And so we've learned to help folks out because, especially in the summertime when traffic is really heavy to the beach and people are coming back and there's no fuel, sometimes you're quite stuck in Sabine Pass. And so either the school district keeps gas in cans or we keep gas in cans for lawnmowers and such. Will help people out that are stuck because the pumps are still at the old store, but there's no gas. And so we plan to do that. And then there's a lot of things going on in Sabine Pass that warrant that the business should do well with all the movement from Semper LNG and Golden Pass LNG. There's a lot of movement and traffic, and there's nowhere to get fuel for the workers that are living in Sabine Pass. There's really nowhere to get anything to eat at night. We have a restaurant in Sabine Pass, but it closes at 2, so there's nowhere to get anything to eat in the afternoons. And so we decided to, the building that we purchased was owned many, many years ago by Mr. Bernie Baquet. He had Sabine Food Store, and then the storm took his building and he rebuilt. And this is the store that is there at the present time, and we purchased it.
Is that building, it's on the same spot that Bernie's grocery store was?
Mr. Baquet's store was right
Yeah.
here, and the store that we have right now, when he rebuilt, he elevated.
Yeah.
It is elevated. He built it right.
Oh, the elevators, yeah.
It is
It's
elevated.
not where Gabby's place was, huh? It's
No.
not, it's over, it's down from that a little
Yes.
bit, yeah.
It's where
Oh,
Mr. Eldridge was and Mr. Baquet was.
Yes.
Mr. Baquet owned the property in the middle, and that's where he built the elevated store. It's 3,350 square feet. Absolutely.
How long do you anticipate it would take you to get up and running?
We're working on that steadily, and I'm a little delayed in this process. Didn't really know how it all worked, and so we're moving forward as quickly as possible. We're in the store regularly working, and there's a line of traffic regularly, I think, when we're open. And a sign went up that we are going to have fuel soon, and so that got everyone really excited. And so we're hoping within a month to try to get it open, ready
That's
for
great.
business.
Any other questions? Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Christie?
Have a motion?
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Smith and second by Mr. Sharif is that we approve the consideration for this letter of intent for infrastructure for Lighthouse Deli and Market in Sabine Pass. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, to discuss with possible consideration a letter of intent for infrastructure for Sabine Pass Car Wash and Ice Cream Shop. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, again, another letter of intent. I'm going to ask Ms. Christie, you guys want to speak on that behalf for us? By the way, first thing, Commissioners, Ms. Christie is the superintendent for the Sabine Pass Independent School District. Congratulations.
The car wash, Sabine Pass Car Wash and Ice Cream Shop is actually my son Devin, who is the property across the street from, it used to be the Sarton Seafood. So if you've ever been to Sabine Pass and you ate at Sarton Seafood, it's that piece of property. And so he wants to put in a car wash and an ice cream snow cone shop. At present time, if you haven't traveled to Sabine Pass, you'll know that your car will be very dirty. There's probably 500 trucks a day on the road dropping dirt, and then they wet it because TxDOT says they need to clean it up, and then it gets slushy and it's all over your car, and there's a real need for it in Sabine Pass, and so, but that's his project.
Commissioner, I think the only question I have on here, and I'm going to ask the lawyer, that snow cone shop, would that be considered a second business?
It will have to, the infrastructure grant program requires 2 separate, completely operating businesses, whether they're standalone facilities or an attached facility. So we need to make certain that the infrastructure improvements, the site that it was serving, had two independent businesses on there. You know, sometimes, as you all know, they have been affixed in like a retail center, but it's not necessary. They could be two standalone businesses. But we need to make sure, the only concern on the snow cone stand, I'm not complaining, but observing from seeing ones in other places, and Kate would brought this up, but she'll be here shortly, is that we want to make sure that these are permanent constructed facilities, and this cannot be in a as you see, many of them are around communities. They're in mobile, either oversized RV type facilities, a mobile, and this would need to be a permanent, stick-built type facility, and not a removable business that could move to another location.
And that is his plan. He hasn't actually built the building yet, and so that's all being done at this time, and he does plan to have a part of that building be for that. So it wouldn't be two separate.
And Commissioners, that's why I asked the questions. I think the lawyer said it well. You know, we have to be very careful that we don't want to provide infrastructure for a movable building.
Any other questions?
The snow cone, is that going to be inside the car wash? How is that going to work?
The way they're looking at where the car wash is, and then there'll be a building on the side, and part of it will be an office. The other part of it would be where he could literally open window, and you'd be able to go to the window to order. So it'd be like on the side of the car wash.
So two separate buildings? Yeah.
No, it would be in the same building. It would be in the same building. It's, the car wash is to the side, and it's like 10, and then it's built over, and then on this side, there's like an office building and another room that he can open a business of whatever sort he wanted, and that's what he wants to do, because there's heavy foot traffic in the summertime for that.
Just need to look at the drawings and get back to you, but at least now it appears that they're going to be putting two businesses in there. We'll certainly work with you all to make sure that we meet the infrastructure design criteria.
Other questions? Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
May I have a motion?
So move.
Can I get a second? It's been moved by Mr. Sharifas and second by Mr. LeBeau that we move forward with this letter of intent for infrastructure for Sabine Pass Car Wash and Ice Cream Shop. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, to discuss for possible consideration approving an economic incentive agreement for Abatex, with Abatex.
We're on number 4. Mr. Chairman, I would like to hold that one until Kate get here, if you don't mind. The next two.
You want to hold 4 and 5 until
Okay.
She's on her way, thank you.
6 and 7 also.
6 and 7 go into executive section.
Executive session, right.
Okay. All right, so let's move to item number 8. To discuss for possible consideration a letter of intent to lease office space at 501 Proctor Street by the Port Arthur Greater Minority Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, in your package, you guys have a letter of intent for lease space from the Greater Port Arthur Minority Chamber of Commerce. What you have, the term is for 2 years. It says 5, but I think it was.
Corrected copy was set on the
Well,
table.
mine is wrong.
Under your packet, you should have had a corrected copy that showed the 2 years.
Yeah.
It's really 2 years. And there is space that, it's on the 3rd floor, is that right? Mm-hmm. 3rd floor, 402 square foot. I'm asking you guys to move forward with the execution of this lease agreement.
We have any questions? We have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Smith and second by Mrs. Connor that we approve the letter of intent to lease office space in 501 Proctor Street by the Greater Minority Chamber of Commerce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, to discuss with possible consideration awarding the bid of mowing of the Spur 93 Business Park. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, several months ago, the city had went out for bid, and there was a little error in it, but I did get the bid package from the city. You guys see the award packet, the bid tabulation in your package. We're asking you guys to award this contract to Joey Tractor Service at $27.50 per acre.
Any questions? Can I have a motion?
I move that we accept Joey's bid.
It's been moved by Mr. Sharifas and second by Mr. Smith that we move forward with the bid from Joey's Tractor Service for the mowing of the Spur 93 Business Park. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, to discuss for possible consideration the approval of the first renewal of the janitorial service contract with Southeast Texas Building Services for 501 Proctor Street. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, we're asking you guys to renew this contract. It was, the contract is, I just want to make sure, is this,
Here's, is this what
Num-
you're
for-
looking for here? Renewable for 3 one-year period.
yeah, renewable for 3 one-year period, and I think this is the second renewal, Jonas?
This is the first renewal.
First renewal, yeah. The only thing I'm going to say about this contract here, guys, currently, it shows $1,280 per month. We probably will have some additional square footage to clean because of the new construction. That cost may go up a little bit, you know. But it was not included in this bid package because the building, that portion of the building is not ready for cleaning service. But when it become active, the price is going to go up a little bit.
Okay, so when the price goes up, will we have to come back and adjust this contract?
Amend this contract. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Smith and second by Mr. Sharifa that we approve the first renewal of janitorial service contract with Southeast Texas Building Services for 501 Proctor Street. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, to discuss for possible consideration approval of an invoice payment with Shamira, thank you, Economics and Analytics for annual subscription fee for Jobs EQ. This is the renewal.
Yes, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, reason why we're coming to you guys, we've been having this software for the last 4 or 5 years. The cost back then was under $5,000. I think it was $4,900. Is that right, Renata? The price did go up to $51,000, and anything above $5,000, I have to bring to you guys for approval. We're asking you guys to approve this invoice. This software we use for demographics, employment information, just about all the information you want on demographics, education, just about everything, workforce, the whole deal. We use it. When we want information, we use this software. So we recommend that we renew this contract, this agreement.
Okay, any questions?
You're totally satisfied with this
Oh,
software?
yes, sir, I am.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Can I have a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Sharifas and second by Mr. Smith that we approve the payment for Shamira, keep saying that wrong, Economics and Analytics for annual subscription fee for this renewal for Jobs EQ. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do you want to go ahead and move to reports, Mr. Baptiste? Yes, sir. And just take everything else to executive session? Okay. Our first report, Workforce and Development Report. Renata, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I'll start off with the CDL training program that we have, and currently we have 5 students who have been approved for the CDL program so far since I've been in this particular role. Also, 2 certifications for CDL have been obtained, and certifications sent over for records as far as for Rachel for payment. The YEP, which is our youth employment program, formerly the summer youth employment program. Currently, I've sent out all information to all the high school seniors. I did make contact with you, let you know where I was. Currently, we have some commitments, and I'm so happy about this. We actually have some employers that would like some students. Of course, we have 20 students that we can actually employ through the Summer Youth Employment Program, and currently right now we have 16 students that we can actually place. 4 will go with the City of Port Arthur with the Health Department with Mrs. Smith. Also with Ms. Chandra Alpo, 2 will go to Parks, 2 Recreation, and speaking with George, Logistics will take 8 students so far, so that's pretty good. The scholarship program, once again, all the information has been sent over. The deadline for that is April 30th. We plan on giving out 5 scholarships this year, and really happy about that. Also, received some information latter part of last week, early part this week. Bechtel. We have a project that's actually coming to our area, and they're going to need approximately 140 drivers. I actually completed a profile through Excel, and this particular Excel spreadsheet identified 91 certified drivers, whether it be CDL A or B. And of that 91, 89, I was actually able to obtain addresses. So right now, Mr. Baptiste is going to probably report a little bit more in his CEO report about where we'll go moving forward with that, and that completes my report.
A question on your, for the scholarship, are you going to have a committee to review those things?
Yes, and I think we have to put that on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm just putting it on your,
right.
on
I
your
think we
mind.
put that on the agenda.
I think, Chairman, the board has a standing committee unless you guys want to go back, and I don't remember who was on that committee.
The only thing I was concerned about, glad you brought that up, wasn't Mr. Marks on one of the committees that may need to be replaced?
Yeah.
Joni, I thought Mr.
Crystal
Marks.
here? Who was on
I
that
thought Mr.
committee?
Marks was on one of those and may need to be added, someone. Yeah, yes, sir, you're correct. Mr. Marks will need to be replaced.
I'd like to be
Okay, so in place of Mr. Marks, we're going to accept Mr. Dallas Smith to work on that scholarship committee. Okay,
Who's the other person?
Christopher
Smith.
Yeah, I would
Is he
recommend you
moving around
appoint
too much?
somebody because, Mr. Smith worked out of town quite a bit, so.
You may just want to appoint an alternate at that point if he is unable to and allows someone else to fill in if he can't, if Mr. Smith can't make it.
Who would like to work on that committee as an alternate, the scholarship committee? All right. Ms. Connors, she will be our alternate for the scholarship committee. That way we'll have at least 3 people reviewing.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
One more question.
I wanted to ask, on the job placements that we did last year, was most of the people that employed them were satisfied with the students? Did you hear any feedback from them?
Summer job program, which is now the youth employment.
I know the health department was very happy, and my understanding, speaking to Ms. Smith, all 4 of the kids enrolled in nursing program at Lamar, which was our objective, now the employment of going back to school. And I think 2 of the kids did good jobs. We're going to do a better job following up this year, though.
Any other questions for Renata?
No, I just want to thank Rachel for getting me straight. We had a question come up about getting a title for some of our collateral done, and I was about to steer her down the wrong path, so I appreciate we got that resolved, but I do appreciate we're staying on top of making sure any collateral that is not in the form of letter of credits or stuff, we're following through and getting all of the real or personal property collateral in place. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now we'll have our contract compliance report.
Good evening, board members. So first off, I would like to just let you all know that the recent amendments that you all have done to some of the current contracts with Park Enterprises, Max Holdings, and MP1 have all been executed and moving forward. So all of those projects are on track and plan to be started within the next couple of months. Standard Alloys, although we amended their contract, they have been keeping steady with their employment obligations. So they have already met some of their employment requirements for this year. They've turned those in very timely, very happy with them doing that. And so far they're on track with their employment requirements. So they've been doing very good. The last thing I have for you as of now is our lease space on the second floor. It has been pushed back a little bit. There's been some issues with contractors and getting people out here to finish up some of those finishes. So that's been pushed back, but we hope to have it done hopefully by the end of this month. And it is available for lease, so we're currently looking for a tenant for that space. Collins Engineers has moved out of their lease space in Suite 321 on the third floor and into Suite 324, which was a little bigger for them. We did amend their contract, and that is where the Greater Minority Business Chamber of Commerce will be moving into, which is Collins' old space in Suite 321. Okay. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you.
Financial report.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Okay. I'm going to start with the first page and just move back. I'm going to read off where we are right now with our expenditures and where the fund balance is predicted to be at this time. Behind that, you'll see the expenditures by line item and the balance left on each line, and also the amount of taxes that we have collected as of February of 2020. We are projected for fiscal year 2020, $4,890,978. Our current expenditure as of February the 20th is $982,773, leaving us an excess of revenue of $3,908,205. We have a debt service this fiscal year of $821,419. Of that amount, $273,806 have been expensed to pay that debt. That leaves us a net change in fund balance of $3,086,786. Our fund balance at the beginning of the year was $8,340,696. Our fund balance at the end of the year is projected to be $11,427,482. The current year remaining balance is $10,183,868. Are there any questions?
Rachel said your fund balance at the end of the year is about $12,400,000. Your current remaining balance, that's what we have left to spend this year. And normally, Rachel, it'd be about $3-4 million that
This has been a trend.
would carry
Yes,
over.
yes.
So when you look at real dollars, if we spend all the money, you got about $1.3 million. You probably will not spend all the money, so you add, I would say another $3 million, so that's 4. Then you have about 7 more months of sales tax to add to that, which you will probably be at $8-9 million by the end of the year. So where she said the fund balance at the beginning of the year is 8.3, I would project that thing will be about 9.2, 9.7, something, right up in there. I just want y'all to understand y'all money, all right? That makes sense to y'all?
When do we receive the sales tax?
Every month.
Every month.
Every month. Every month, the city receives an allocation from the state controller, and that portion of us is added to us. One of the things that we are doing, I have some software, and I've been working with the assistant city manager where we could actually go in there and see who's not paying sales tax. So I've asked the city to engage someone to start looking at that stuff because we're leaving a lot of money on the table. So with the economy going the way it's going, our sales tax, I will tell you, our sales tax are up about 11%. And we're still leaving about 3 or 4% on the table. So I see a great future for this community.
And I could also add to that, Mr. Smith, that along with the sales tax from the state, we receive sales tax from the water department. So that's also part of our revenue for sales tax, for sales, yeah. Any other questions? Thank you. Y'all have a nice evening.
Thank you, Rachel. CEO report.
At last council meeting, the council did approve the contract with CTEX for the 549 4th Street. In fact, they had folks there today. They should be putting the fence up around the building. We did meet with them Thursday, George. Thursday, we met with them in the city. We got the permit going. We met with the city about storage because we don't have a lot of lay-down yard around there, so everything is going pretty good. We're starting construction on 549 4th Street. The other thing I want to make you guys aware of is, remember we in the process, I don't know if it's closed yet, is that property on 4th Street closed yet, Kate? Not? No, it hasn't. Okay. Well, in fact, tomorrow, the environmental is going to be done. My understanding is they're going before the planning and zoning on the 19th. Construction should begin probably June or July. They're going to have 118 units over there. They're also looking at purchasing some property on Proctor Street adjacent to that property to make a larger pad site over there. The other thing I have on your downtown program, we currently have 20 homes built. I am being told that by May we would have started 30, and we should have, by the end of the summer, we should have 30 new homes built in that area, which is good. The other thing I want to say on that deal is George made me aware a few minutes ago that Miss Ballou, who is our project manager, she had been named to the board of directors for the State of Texas Association for Community Development Corporation. Real big deal, man. This is real big. This is real big. So you could tell, and I just want to take hats off to what Ms. Ballou doing. I spoke to Kate last week. I think, Kate, we're going to begin sometime next week or very soon working on the memorandum of understanding between us and Lamar.
Yes.
You know, because that project is about to kick off too, guys. And those of you who wasn't here, we contribute $1 million to the Armory building. I think for the $1 million, I think it's 100 Port Arthur residents will get tuition free at that facility. So we're getting ready to start the memorandum of understanding between us and the local state college. Work ready, man. work-ready community, right? George and I have been thinking about this thing, and we've been talking about it, and I know it was initiated here, but we feel that because of the people that we're dealing with and want to work with, it's a regional effort. You know, because the subcontractors, they're from all over this area. And if we limit ourselves to just Port Arthur, we think we're shooting ourselves in the head. So this week or last week, we had a conference call with State Representative Desertel, Judge Brannick with Jefferson County, and also Dennis Isaac with the who chaired the Business Roundtable in Beaumont, and ACT Work Keys. And we had a very good conversation on trying to make this thing a regional thing. I think Dennis and Joe Desertel and George are going to be going to New Orleans next month.
It's their boot camp is April 8th and 9th. That's the first session, and then the second one is sometime late July. So we're looking forward to that.
And I'm saying to this board, I think the reason why we want to go regional, because when you look at your subcontractors, who are the people we want to be working with, they're from the whole area, and we need a pool of people that will be able to satisfy all those guys. And if we're just looking at Port Arthur, I think the numbers are not there. The numbers are not there. But we're going to get, you know, our goal is to make Port Arthur the database center. This is where we hold, you know, the referral place, hopefully TWC. But we had some good conversation with State Representative Desertel. Judge Brannick have bought into this thing. They certainly understand what we're trying to do, and these guys have jumped out and said they're going to meet George in New Orleans to try to make this thing work for us. And it's a tough job breaking the old system, but tremendous effort going on. The last thing I have on here is I just provided you guys with a letter. Last week and even today, and we're still going back and forth with language. We composed a letter. I've been talking with Sempra, I've been talking with Bechtel, I've been talking with Trucking, what's the name of that deal? All these folks that's involved. You guys, Bechtel, Sempra is going to be building the LNG. They're building a road out there in the Gulf of Mexico and all this. They have to move about 3.2 million cubic feet of dirt. And they're going to be moving that to the city of Port Arthur landfill. And they're going to need a lot of drivers. A lot of truck and a lot of truck drivers. And what Renata mentioned to you, Renata went back to 2017? 15. And everybody that we paid to go to CDL class at Lamar, and Renata is also working with you're going to be working with TWC, right? Because TWC paid those folks. She's going to be working we're going to be sending them this letter here. This letter here. And this letter will make them aware of what it's going to take to get qualified for those jobs. Our goal is to get, they need 140 drivers. Our goal is to get 140 drivers from Port Arthur. That's our goal. And I think that, in fact, talking to the Bechtel guy, said, if this worked, then when they need the next craft, we just tweak the letter for the next craft and go out and recruit again. So there's a lot of good relationship and partnership happening right now. We just got to continue working it. But I just want to let you guys know what's going on. Yes, sir.
Going back to Lamar with the free tuition, what kind of what they're gonna use that money for?
Money.
The-
What
the
what
100
Granada did, everyone that you guys, we paid some of Port Arthur residents to go to school at Lamar. She went back and everyone that you guys spent money on, we're gonna send them a letter.
He's speaking of the
And
Armory
I'm
building.
speaking of the
Armory
100
building.
people you said that was gonna get tuition free.
Yes, sir.
What they getting for the
They're gonna
tuition
get
for
craft training.
craft training?
Right, craft training, millwright, scaffold, welding, the whole gamut for industry. Because it's gonna be an industrial training center.
And that's 100 people from Port Arthur.
100 people from Port Arthur, gonna get 3 training. That's what Kate and I are gonna be working on, that memorandum of understanding between us and Lamar on how we're gonna feed those people into that, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we're gonna work on. Question, anything? Yes, sir.
Right around here. Trucks by the hauling dirt in or hauling dirt out? You
It's
know-
both of them.
Yeah, because you know, out on 73, I was down 73 going to the Huntley's. They had trucks lined up forever, and there was a dirt pit out there. You halfway between here and Winnie, and I mean to tell you, there was trucks moving. So I didn't know which way they were going with this dirt. They're going in and out,
In and out.
moving the bad stuff and moving the good
Good stuff in. Unbelievable.
I mean to tell, I didn't know there was that. One more question. Even though this is kind of refreshing. On the property that they're building the units over here on 4th Street, off of 4th Street, by the seawall, are they gonna be condominiums or single house? What are they?
They're gonna be townhome, apartments complex. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have a sketch of it right now. They go before the Planning Commission on the 19th of this month. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I had a question. On the work keys, going regional, that's to make a bigger pool, right?
It makes a bigger pool, that's
Now,
correct.
okay, now my question is, how do we still get our Port Arthur folk in the door? Now, I'm not against a regional outfit,
Yes, sir.
but I live
Yes,
in
sir.
Port Arthur.
Yes, sir. The intent is, with work keys, is first identify those who have the skill sets and where they are in meeting the benchmark, because we have profiles of every job. Once we identify where an individual is, then we have another tool that will take them to that other level. And like Mr. Smith was saying, then we're going to have the state-of-the-art training center that could take that guy from a 3 to a 5 if they want to go to the next level. So it's to identify where you are and then take you there. And the reason why George and I felt it made more sense to be regional because when you're dealing, everybody look for qualified workers. It's to get the employers, industry, the subcontractors involved, because they will be a work-ready employer. So it would be a pool of employers who are work-ready employers, and then you have a pool of applicants who are work-ready applicants. And when they have those job openings, they come to this pool. They don't go outside the pool. They come to the pool to pull. So those folks that's in the pool will have that opportunity to be uplifted.
I see why you did. I see why y'all went there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The only other question I had was about the CDL drivers. Is that 2 years experience going to be something that they hold in stone, or that's something that they just throwing out there to get more experienced driver, but they accept something less or what?
In conversation with Bechtel, the guy said the guy have a license, he got to train somewhere. But, you know, that's their job description.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's a way that you're gonna track this with the employees? I mean, keep an account how many people they hiring from Port Arthur and
We're gonna certainly try. We go back to the beginning of time, guy. Remember, the city involved us as the first source referral in simple contract, and they are working very closely with us. So, in my discussion, myself and George's discussion with both Sempra and Bechtel, they certainly want to maximize Port Arthur residents. But you got to meet the skill sets, and that's where we're at. That's why we're going, Renata have compiled this list. We know those folks are certified drivers. Our goal is 140. If we meet 70, we good. Yes, sir. They make 75,000, 80,000 a year, you know, and they're at home every night.
Any other questions? Okay. Now, do you want to take 4 and 5 in executive session, or you want to take them now?
Kate?
We're going to take them both into executive session.
Okay.
A closed
Thank
meeting
you
or
very much.
a closed meeting or executive session will be held pursuant to the following sections of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, Section 551071, Section 551072, Section 551074, and Section 551087. We will now adjourn for executive session.
So now take my food to build.
Okay, I need this. Meeting of the Economic Development Corporation back to order. May I have a roll call, please, Mr. Baptiste? Here. Thank you so much. Coming out of the executive session, we're going to take a look at item 4 through 7. Number 4 is to discuss for possible consideration approving an economic incentive agreement with Abatix. With the lawyer, please.
Only because I can talk better than Kate with her call. I'll say that the recommendation is to proceed subject to the economic incentive, which is for about $171,000 equivalent to the price that it will cost for them to purchase 3 acres in the business park, to be supported by the purchase contract, identifying the specific acreage, and as that will have to be an attachment to the economic incentive agreement. So we recommend approval at the amount that the executive director has recommended, and Crystal, subject to them completing for attachment the purchase contract.
All right, may I have a motion, please? It's been moved by Mr. Smith and second by Mr. Sharifas that we approve moving forward with the economic incentive agreement, subject to receiving the purchase agreement and attaching it to said agreement. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, to discuss for possible consideration approving an infrastructure agreement incentive with Walk-On's Bistro and Bar.
Again, the recommendation is to proceed with this incentive, subject to Kate completing the infrastructure incentive agreement at the amount that has been previously presented by staff to the EDC for the infrastructure, and this will allow for the construction of the restaurant and then some separate retail space.
Have a motion, please? Yeah, ask. Go right ahead.
Okay, is that going to be, this retail space, they're going to have separate CO, right?
After they do the restaurant, that before they could receive their third installment of their incentive agreement, they'll have to receive a second CO.
Yes. Under those agreement, I'll move that we approve it.
Can I have a second, please? Been moved by Mr. Sharifis and second by Mr. Smith that we move forward with the economic incentive agreement for Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, subject to the agreement being put together based on the numbers provided by our CEO. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, to discuss for possible consideration an infrastructure agreement, incentive agreement with Walker Investments, Miss B's Retail Center.
Mr. Chairman, we're going to have to ask that this matter be taken off the agenda at this time. After looking at the project and working with the EDC staff, it doesn't appear that either one of the buildings that would be proposed as the two separate businesses are permanent structures affixed to a property permanently, and as has been determined, the value of the improvements would exceed the value of both of the now existing buildings on the property. I think this is one where we pull this because it would be difficult to recommend this with these being removable type structures, and they can certainly come back if they want to repropose a different project. So the action would be to remove it from the agenda at this time.
Okay, can I get a motion to that effect?
A motion.
It's been moved by Ms. Connors and second by Mr. LeBeau that we remove item number 6 from the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, to discuss for possible consideration an infrastructure economic incentive for 1700 Guffway Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is one where the proposed infrastructure incentive would be $257,170.60, as the board just received this evening, and some information, I believe, updated by the city staff, and that this will be for the for 2 structures. One, a retail front part, in the rear, a warehousing type facility, but we do want to restate that this will require the issuance of 2 separate COs in order to receive the incentive under your incentive, under your infrastructure incentive program. So, and Mr. Baptiste has something.
Yeah, I have a question, Commissioner. You know, we presented this to the city engineer, and I received this about 5 o'clock. He got permits and fees.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, permits and fees as a cost in here. And the question I have, that's not infrastructure to me.
Well, no, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't notice that they had this $30,000 worth of permits and fees. So yes, I think that that's a very good observation, sir, that we probably ought to eliminate that in the calculation of the 40%. So without doing the math, the incentive amount will be reduced by the 40% of the $30,000, which would be about $12,000 by my rough numbers, is that the incentive would be reduced by $12,000. So now it would be $245,170.60.
Let me do the math.
See if you're, because it seemed like the 40% of the 30,000.
Should have that by now. Get the banker.
Let the banker check it first. But you're correct, sir. We should not be including permit.
245.50.
245, 170.
245.50.
245.50.
Yes, sir.
Okay. $245,050.
Yes, sir.
would be the incentive amount, not to include anything for permits or fees. Any other questions about that? Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Sharifis and second by Mr. Smith that we approve the infrastructure incentive agreement for 1700 Jefferson Drive in the amount of $245,050. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman.
If there be nothing else, I will entertain a motion to dismiss. What you got?
Mr. Chairman, prior to dismissing the meeting, I know you appointed a subcommittee to look at infrastructure. Is there a date you guys would like to set to begin discussing this thing?
Okay, for that committee, what's a good day for you all to, when do you want to begin to meet?
I'm on that committee.
You are on that
The only days I have a problem with are Tuesday and Thursday mornings. Other than that, I'm available. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons are fine, but any other day.
Rhonda?
Kate?
Pretty open other than, I mean, I could meet this week on Wednesday or, next week except on Wednesday.
I'm going to see Willie Nelson Wednesday. My kids bought me tickets to the
Oh,
Fat
hey.
Stock Show.
Willie Nelson.
Well, why don't we just meet Monday, March 9th at the EDC office at 9 a.m.? Would that work?
Good.
9 a.m.? Mm-hmm. Can you make that one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
What's that date on that?
Monday, March 9th at
March
9
9th.
a.m.
There's one more deal I need to make an announcement, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
George, beginning Thursday this week, is that right? The city manager and his department heads will be going to, I think they're starting off in District 1. They are going to District 1 and they're going to every district, 2, 3, and 4, every Thursday of this month. And they will have community forums to allow the community to give community input and for the city to communicate back to the people. So you guys could go to the one in your district or you could go to all of them. But I think it's going to be something that you guys would want to go. Thursdays.
Thursdays, but you don't know what Thursday, what?
Thursday this week is going to be at the West Side Center.
We could email it, yeah. We could email it.
I mean, for our individual.
They're gonna send us an email with a list of the dates and the locations and also the time. Joni's great about that.
All I have.
Johnny, are you going to send out notices about Monday? This Monday meeting?
I will do that.
Only she knows her job, John. Her problem is catching you on the phone, email or phone, John.
Email.
Yeah.
I'm old school.
All right, we're looking for that motion
Still sufficient for a motion.
to get out of here. All right, it's been moved by Ms. LeBeau and second by Ms. Connors that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank y'all very much.
All right, y'all enjoy the rest of your month.
See you Monday, Ms. Ron.